Hi guys, it is getting to be a beautiful day in the end times. Imagine that here in South Austin, Texas on Thursday morning, November 10th, 2016. So I think yesterday my Wednesday rant about Donald Trump will count as this week's depressed collapsitarian rant. So I think what I will do is make today's rant, instead of just another depressed collapsitarian rant, I think today I will come back at you with my climate change meltdown roundup rant. $1 short and a day late, and take a wild guess what the subject of today's climate change meltdown roundup rant is going to be about. Take a wild guess. I'll let you figure it out. But the segue into this is the main story I want to talk about. I want to thank Alert Tribes member. I believe this was David who sent me this from the UK Independent, which I thought the Independent has. Maybe I'm mistaken. I thought it was a climate change denial newspaper. Looks like we're being bombed here in South Austin, Texas on this beautiful morning. What a surprise. Anyway, take it away from the Independent's science desk. Thank you for explaining this to us. Climate change may be escalating so fast it could be game over. Scientists warn. New research suggests the Earth's climate could be more sensitive to greenhouse gases than thought. Shit, I got my brand new no shit Sherlock button. I want to thank Nancy for my new no shit Sherlock button, and then I left it up at the house. But just imagine the no shit Sherlock button. New research suggests the Earth's climate could be more sensitive to greenhouse gases than thought, raising the specter of an, quote, apocalyptic side of bad. Temperature rise of more than 7 degrees Celsius within our lifetime. There you go. It is a vision of a future so apocalyptic that it is hard to even imagine. But if leading scientists writing in one of the most respected academic journals are correct, planet Earth could be on course for global warming of more than 7 degrees Celsius within a lifetime. And that, according to one of the world's most renowned climatologists, I'm assuming they're talking about Michael Mann, could be, quote, game over. And now for the segue into the rest of my rant. Particularly, could be game over, particularly given the imminent presence of climate change denier Donald Trump in the White House, as the clueless fucking morons, including a few people, who shall remain nameless, who talk about climate change deniers being the single biggest threat to the planet, as they are, yet cheering on Donald Trump. But anyway, that is that, trying to figure out people's sense of logic. Okay, get back to the story. Scientists have long tried to work out how the climate will react over the coming decades to the greenhouse gases humans are pumping into the atmosphere. And according to this absolutely unadulterated horseshit intergovernmental panel on climate change that does not factor methane into their equations, if humans carry on with a business as usual approach, the Earth's average temperature will rise by somewhere between 2.6 and 4.8 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. However, new research by an international team of experts who looked into how the Earth's climate has reacted over nearly 800,000 years warn this unadulterated horseshit IPCC sugar-coated estimate could in fact be a major underestimate, because they believe the climate is more sensitive to greenhouse gases when it is warmer. So this is what they do here in this, is crunch this paper in the journal Science Advances that just came out, which predicts the actual range, if you pull your head out of your ass, could in fact be between 4.78 Celsius to 7.36 Celsius by 2100, as emissions are still increasing. We've already hit 1 degree and climbing. And before I get to Michael Mann, I want to this is Dr. Doug Parr, of Greenpeace UK. The worrying thing from this newest research is a suggestion that climate sensitivity is higher than thought. Yes, is not compatible with higher temperatures we have been seeing this year. Anybody, which of course does not include Donald Trump, who understands the situation we find ourselves in would have already realized we are in an emergency situation. And then they check in with my old buddy, Professor Michael Mann of Penn State University. So what does he have to say? He was like, I don't think Michael Mann was part of this new study, but he told the Independent that the new paper appeared to him, quote, sound and the conclusions quite defensible. Continuing with Donald Trump, and it does indeed provide support for the notion that a Donald Trump presidency could be game over for the climate. By game over, I mean game over for stabilizing warming below dangerous levels. If Trump makes good on his promises, it is difficult to see a path forward to keeping warming below those levels. So we're gonna go from that story to this one. Climate experts weigh in on Trump's election win. And they interview Michael Mann, but I don't need to repeat that. The election of Donald Trump as the nation's next president spurred celebration in some quarters, but dismay in others, including among those concerned about the steady warming of the planet. The unrestrained emissions of heat-trapping greenhouse gases, I think we know, we've been through that. Though climate change was not a major topic in much election coverage. For example, there were no questions about climate change anywhere in the presidential debates. Many climate scientists and policy advocates supported Hillary Clinton. They expected that she would continue policies enacted by the Barack Obama administration. Okay, but anyway, let's move ahead from that bullshit. Okay, this is Jennifer Francis, sea ice researcher at Rutgers University. If President Trump acts on statements he made during the campaign, we're likely to see any federal efforts to curtail fossil fuel burning go up in smoke. I fear that funding for any scientific research related to the environment will be further cut by an unrestrained science-phobic Congress, even as we become ever more confident of the myriad ways that climate change is costing the U.S. economy billions of dollars, contributing to food and international insecurity, and disrupting daily life. Mother Nature did her share to influence this election by dishing up a smorgasbord of record-breaking heat, flooding, drought, and storms, yet climate change was a non-issue during the campaign. We know it is adversely affecting wildlife, agriculture, fisheries, outdoor sports, transportation, you name it. So clearly, all stripes need to tell this story better. Yep, here is Jacqueline Gill, paleoecologist at University of Maine. We have just elected the only climate-denying president in the free world with a young Earth creationist as vice president. It is hard to predict exactly how this will play out in terms of impacts to combat and mitigate against climate change, but one of the most immediate threats will be to the funding and agencies that support climate change research. Trump has gone on the record stating he will cut funding for climate scientists, which will directly jeopardize ongoing efforts to understand how the climate system works, how to predict the impacts of climate change, and what the effective strategies for mitigation should be. I worry that Donald Trump's election will only rejuvenate the ongoing assault on climate scientists, both in terms of internet harassment and in Congress. Yes. Anyway, guys, I could just go on and on with this. As one, I like the headline in this is actually from Grist magazine. They just sum it up in the headline: global climate activists try not to freak out over Trump's win, which is just more. I mean, there's plenty of stories on the mainstream and alternative media today. I'm sure there's all sorts of YouTubes from every climatologist on the planet talking about the election of Donald Trump. Let's see, I enjoyed this story from those old lefty eco-Nazis at Business Insider. President-elect Donald Trump does not believe in climate change. Here is his platform on the environment. In a stunning upset, Americans elected Republican Donald Trump as the next president of the United States. With control of the presidency, the House, the Senate, and at least one Supreme Court seat to fill, the GOP will have the opportunity to make sweeping changes in the next 4 years. And then I love this sentence. The positions Trump and his Democratic opponent Hillary Clinton had on environmental issues could not be more different. Yes. Most notably, Clinton accepts climate change as a human-caused reality, while Trump does not. The scientific debate about climate change has ended largely because it's been an obvious, observable reality for decades now that humans are causing warming global temperatures and the host of problems that come with them. There's just one problem with, as the International Business Times points out about writing an article on Donald Trump's environmental platform. The problem with writing an article about Donald Trump's environmental platform is that Donald Trump does not have an environmental platform, as Trump did not include anything about the environment anywhere on his website. The environment, whether it's climate change or whatever, is a complete non-issue to Donald Trump. He's not even, I mean, the state of the planet is nowhere in Donald Trump's brain. It is a complete non-issue, which of course reflects the reality of the hopelessness of the situation and the cluelessness of America's voters. Okay, but anyway, guys, the vast majority of the articles, I'm just going to read the headlines and make some comments. And I wanted to end on this one, and now, of course, my goddamn computer has gone blank. Anyway, I'm going to end on this one if it comes back. But the majority of the articles, the vast majority of the articles you will find on both the mainstream and alternative media today is about Trump pulling out of the Paris climate deal. Okay, here is Trump victory deals blow to fight against global warming. Here is global climate accord on rocky ground after Trump victory. Here is Trump effect will test global momentum on climate change. Here is Trump's win is a deadly threat to stopping climate change. And so article after article after article, what they are talking about, that the reason Donald Trump is such a threat to the planet is because he thinks the Paris climate deal is unadulterated horse shit. So I don't want to confuse people by hitting the bullshit button at this point. I do want to say, if there is any clueless fucking moron on this planet, including anyone in the mainstream in media or the alternative media, thinking the reason Donald Trump is the single biggest threat to planet Earth right now is because he understands that the Paris Climate Agreement is unadulterated horseshit, I got one thing to say to you, you clueless moron. How many times have I stated your old eco-Nazi agrees 100% with climate change denier and world's biggest threat to the planet, Donald Trump, that the Paris Climate Agreement is an unadulterated pile of horseshit. Of course, the reason that Donald Trump and Hambone Littletail have arrived at that same inescapable conclusion that even an intellectual moron such as Donald Trump or Alex Jones understands are for polar opposite reasons. Of course, Donald Trump thinks this bullshit because he does not think climate change exists, and Hambone Littletail understands that it's unadulterated horseshit because it does absolutely nothing on any level to do one goddamn thing to save this planet. Which is why if Hillary Clinton, if the popular vote had actually elected the president, and we had Hillary Clinton getting ready to take over the White House, I would be having a similar rant, but calling Hillary Clinton the clueless fucking moron. But of course, anybody with a brain understands that Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama and everyone else in the goddamn UN knows that that fucking joke, Paris climate deal, is going to do not a goddamn thing to save this planet. Is going to greenwash them to these clueless fucking moron, little limp dick mainstream environmentalists such as Leonardo DiCaprio with believing that unadulterated horseshit that the fucking United Nations is going to save this planet from climate change or any other environmental disaster. But so I'm not even going to insult my intelligence or yours by reading this. And of all these articles talking about Donald Trump pulling out of the Paris climate thing, it nowhere, well, I won't say nowhere, but it's barely mentioned, usually buried down in there, about how Donald Trump is preparing to declare war on our public lands and our private lands as he completely erases any roadblock to the fossil fuel industry in this country. He is an absolute godsend to the fucking frackers, the coal miners with their mountaintop removal, the Dakota Access Pipeline builders, the Alberta tar sands. He is, even though he is not as bought and sold by the fossil fuel industry as goddamn Hillary Clinton, he is actually a bigger cheerleader of the fossil fuel industry, and the carbon emissions in the United States over the next 4 to 8 years are going to go nowhere but up through the roof. And it has nothing the fuck to do with that red herring called the Paris climate deal. But anyway, I'm going to wrap up with this story where it really from what group is this? Climate Central, who really gets to what it's all about. Physics doesn't really give a flying fuck who was elected president. Actually, of course, it said physics doesn't really care who was elected. All right. Donald Trump has said climate change is a Chinese hoax. His presidency raises the prospect of a climate denier atop the EPA and an oil and gas billionaire running the energy department. He could pull the U.S. and its 15% of all global carbon emissions out of the Paris Agreement. This information has made his supporters happy and his detractors furious. This information, meaning this information about Donald Trump being elected instead of Hillary Clinton, also matters not one iota to the climate. There you go. Climate change does not give a flying fuck about the law of the land in the U.S. It, meaning climate change and Mother Nature, cares about the laws of physics. Trump can change laws in the U.S. He cannot change them in the atmosphere. In the coming months, there's going to be a lot of speculation about what is in store for the U.S. when it comes to climate policy at home and abroad. Here is a reminder of the climate change impacts we are already dealing with before Trump was elected, and what we can expect to continue. This is not an exhaustive list, merely the most clear, obvious impacts based on the simple realities of physics. The world will have to take heed or deal with the consequences on society. And just in case Donald Trump is listening to this rant, here is just throwing a dart. Number one, carbon dioxide passed the 400 parts per million milestone this year permanently. Number two, 2016 is going to be the hottest year on record, and that comes on the heels of a record hot 2015, which broke the record hot 2014. Extreme weather events have become more likely. Sea level rise is making flooding more common. Arctic sea ice is disappearing fast. The Arctic ice sheet is already becoming unstable. The oceans already have been record warm, and it's killing coral, meaning we've kissed goodbye the Great Barrier Reef as Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton were battling it out. Oh, and oceans are acidifying. There you go. And I'm going to wrap up this this actual, oh God, just in this very, as I was having this rant, the Washington Post coming in, what it would really mean if Trump pulls the U.S. out of the Paris Climate Agreement. It would mean nothing. Here is, now that Trump has won, TransCanada wants to give Keystone XL Pipeline another try. Already, the Keystone Pipeline is knocking on the door. Here is Trump's victory shocks international climate negotiations. Here is Trump victory batters solar and wind stocks, bolsters coal shares, as the president-elect has pledged to bring back the coal industry. Here is Trump victory reverses U.S. energy and environmental priorities. Trump's transition team includes several lobbyists for fossil fuel companies and skeptics about climate change. And that is the Washington Post in the past 24 hours. I'll probably be getting back to them in tomorrow's ecological meltdown roundup rant. And I was going to have some more comments about Donald Trump's reaction to Donald Trump's election from environmentalists that aren't dealing directly with the climate as part of this rant. But I'm going to wrap up this climate change meltdown roundup rant and come back at you with a smaller associated rant from looking at other ways environmentalists are raising the white flag today for this rant. Bye, guys.